Okay, we've got about a minute past the hour here, so we will get underway. I want to say good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're located in the country. My name is Tom Vukovich with Insurance Network America. On behalf of everyone at INA, I'd like to wish everyone well, wish your families well during this interesting and challenging time, and sincerely want to thank you for joining us today for our call on building stronger relationships and driving revenue through digital marketing. We have already had a lot of excitement and a lot of energy on today's content with Broadridge and what they have to offer to your business. Today, you will hear and learn how you can make an incredible impact with your clients, your relationships, and your practice with what you're going to hear about today. Our featured speakers today are Dave Briggs, who is the Director of Corporate Training at Broadridge, and Daniel Borden, who is the Senior Account Executive at Broadridge. Before I turn things over to them, quickly wanted to mention a couple of housekeeping items. First, questions during the presentation, please use your menu on your screen to submit them, and we will answer your questions by the end of the presentation. Also, at the conclusion of today's call, there will be an opportunity for you to complete a quick form, which in essence will be your name, address, phone number. If you're interested in gaining access to Broadridge and these amazing tools, a representative from Broadridge will reach out to you within the next couple of days. Obviously, we're looking at this weekend being Memorial Day, so I would say by Tuesday, you will hear from someone. But lastly, want to mention, if you have other questions, you want to talk to us at INA, we'd love to share with you some of our favorite aspects and items within what you're going to see today and how this can work for you. Our 800 number, as always, is 800-456-7999. We're here to help you. So without any further delay, I'm very excited to hand things off to Dave Briggs and Daniel Borden.
Thank you very much for those warm words of welcome, and also saying some nice things about Broadridge. We have recently reinvigorated the relationship, and we have been very excited about the wonderful response from the Insurance Network America INA representatives. You're a professional group, and it's a pleasure for us to get to know you and to work with you. Again, my name is Dave Briggs. I'll be giving a little bit of an introduction to the need for maybe not only hearing and learning more about digital marketing, but perhaps doing more with digital marketing. And I probably am a same or similar age as many of you on the webinar today. And if you could advance to the next slide, please. You'll see on this next slide, and I don't want this to be about me at all, but this goes back to vintage 1977, when I was in my first year as a financial planner. And so anyway, that is the young version of Dave Briggs, Dave 1.0. And as you can see, I would send out a monthly newsletter or a semi-monthly newsletter to my clients, as well as, and perhaps more importantly, to my prospects. And it was an incredible marketing tool for its time. Let me just share with you a very brief story that I believe most of you will relate to and understand. And like all of us, when we started new in this industry and in this profession, we knew there was a lot of upside, but we get a little bit anxious, we get a little bit pressured into bringing home the bacon, so to speak. And I'll always remember talking to my boss, and he says, well, Dave, you need to meet successful people. Today we call them qualified prospects, and you need to make them your clients. And he said, you need to figure out a way to stay in touch with them, because not everybody is going to be immediately ready, willing, and motivated to take next steps with you as their financial professional. So he recommended this newsletter that you see in front of you from a state research. Back then it was a state research out of New York City. They were a newsletter vendor, just much like Broadridge is today for both print as well as digital. And so I started sending these out to my clients as well as my prospects on a regular basis. And as you can see, I worked for a firm known as United California Business and Estate Planning Incorporated. here in Southern California. Once upon a time, I met a very successful business owner whose name was Ernie. And Ernie, we both met under very favorable circumstances. In fact, one of my best clients was one of his best friends. He's the one who introduced us. I just assumed that Ernie would want to take next steps and meet with me. So when I invited him to set a day and a time, he said, well, I'm not quite ready, Dave. And how many of you have heard that before when you've had an opportunity to be referred to a qualified lead or prospect? And he said, right now is not a good time for me. Perhaps we can meet later. So I gave Ernie my business card, as most of us would be inclined to do. And rather than just saying, Ernie, when you feel like the time is right, just look at my contact information on my business card and give me a call. Well, in addition to that, I said, Ernie, I send out a regular newsletter on financial and estate or business and estate planning. And I think it's information you would like to receive at no cost or no obligation. He said, of course, I'd love to receive your newsletter. So going forward, Ernie began to receive my newsletters. Month 1, month 2, month 3, into month 7 or 8. And never really heard anything from Ernie. And then all of a sudden, one morning, the phone rang, and on the other end, I hear the voice of Ernie Van Dees. And he said, Dave, this is Ernie. Are you married? And I go, as a matter of fact, I am. And I've just been married about a year or so. And he said, well, I think maybe now's the right time to take next steps and to meet with you. Can you and your wife come and meet with me and my wife at my home for Sunday dinner a week from this Sunday? I just remember the phrase as if it was yesterday. And so I went down and met with Ernie. Along with me was my wife, Debbie. And he had built a magnificent home. He was a very wealthy multimillionaire. And anyway, I walked into the home through the double door entrance, and on my right was the great room with the 20-foot tall ceilings, as well as the walnut bookcases with a lot of expensive looking books. And in the middle of one of these bookcases or shelves was a white 3-ring binder that stuck out like a sore thumb. I looked at it and I read on the spine of this binder the name Dave Briggs, and he could see me kind of gravitating towards it. He took it off the shelf and he said, would you like to see what information I have about you? I said, yes, I'm very curious. So he handed it to me. And as I opened up this 3-ring binder, I know you already realize what was inside, all the newsletters that I had sent him over the past several months. Not only was he receiving my newsletters, he was reading them, he was underlining, he was highlighting, he was making notes in the margin, etc. And anyway, his wife just walked into the room as I opened this binder up. And Ernie said to his wife, Rena, he said, sweetheart, come over here. I would like you to meet one of the smartest people I have ever met. Now, I got to tell you, the name Dave Briggs and smart people have not always intersected in the same sentence to a lot of people. But he felt like I was brilliant because of this wonderful, current, compelling, and helpful information he was receiving on a regular basis. And so anyway, he didn't read the fine print on the back, which said that this was that the content was developed by a state research corporation out of New York City. But who reads the fine print anyway? And I wasn't about to correct him. So when I saw that he was reading and studying my newsletters, I got to tell you, my next thought was, I hope he doesn't ask me any questions. I'm just kidding. Of course, he was there to ask me a few questions. Well, let me ask you a rhetorical question. Suppose upon meeting Ernie the first time, I just handed him my business card and said, when you need to get a hold of me, just give me a call. What are the chances that 6, 7, or 8 months later, Ernie would have called me back because I gave him my newsletter, my business card? The chances are 0. What did happen is I was nurturing the relationship by sending him my newsletter. Now you send these newsletters out either through print as well or digitally. And it's a clean way to do it. It's a very low-cost way to do it. But what it does is it keeps you top of mind with clients and prospects, especially prospects. And the only reason Ernie called me back several months later was because I was top of mind, and I also impressed him with the perception that I was a thought leader. Next slide, please. Okay. And let's go maybe one more click. So we have that 20 years ago on there. As you see on the screen, 20 years ago, a lot of advisors were using what's listed on this portion of the slide for their marketing efforts and solutions. All of us can relate to referrals and seminars, cold calling, direct mail, etc. Many of us that have been in this business for a few years to many years, we can all relate to that. Next slide, please. And then 10 years later, we find that technology begins to enter in. And this is actually going back to about 1999, where websites, email marketing, digital newsletters, and CRMs began to be an important part of the marketing balance for a financial advisor. Next slide, please. And then today we see a great deal of focus on social media, SEM, as well as SEO, and which is getting found on the internet easier. And we want to tell you that we have ways and means to help our customers and clients become far more visible on an internet search. Also retargeting and digital ads and mobile apps, which we won't get into today, but we do want to be discussing quite a bit about the other digital solutions that I believe you're going to learn more about at the end of this, that we're going to make available to you for a free trial, a very compelling and helpful marketing dashboard that we call the Advisor Resource Center. Next slide, please. Just to kind of build the case for the importance of technology, a recent study, industry-wide study, was conducted. And part of the study focused on those financial professionals that are growing their revenue on a yearly basis beyond 8% or more, and all the way down to the quartile of no growth or even minus growth. And you'll see that the top quartile, those financial professionals, they were growing their book of business an average of 26% year to year. On the other end of the spectrum, the lower revenue generating quartile, they were losing 17% of their revenue year to year. So that's a 43% gap. And the number one reason that the study concluded that there was a gap of 43% between the higher end financial professionals versus the lower end was technology. That the lower end had refused or chose not to engage in digital marketing efforts and into technology, versus those who were growth focused. They were not completely, but highly reliant on digital marketing tools and other technologies to help them in their practice. So I just want to bring to your mind what I think is a great visual. So from that, we learned there are those advisors, if you'll advance the slide, please, one time, that make things happen. Next slide. We have financial professionals who let things happen. They're basically satisfied with the status quo, just letting things go as they are. And then we have at the other and lower end of the spectrum, we have those financial professionals who wonder what happened because they've done nothing to engage in the technology of the day and of the present and embracing new technology as it comes your way. Next slide. So the 5 strategies we want you to focus on, or consider focusing on, are these. Next slide, strategy 1, which is stay top of mind. That is so important. That's what your brand is. Does your brand elevate you as a financial professional so that when there is the movement of money with your clients and or prospects, or there is a life event that is critical to them and they're looking for answers, are you the financial professional that is top of mind? Next slide. Number 2, you want to continuously educate and reinforce that you are a thought leader. Really, when it comes right down to it, that's one of the great differentiators for your clients and prospects, is because most of your competitors, they can sell same or similar products. They can provide same or similar services. But what really enlightens a client or a prospect is this person that I am looking at really differentiates him or herself because they are continuously sharing with me credible, current, and compelling content in the form of marketing communication pieces. Next slide. Number 3, spark interest and motivate your clients to take action. You will find that the marketing pieces, the content that we can now provide for you, even for a trial basis, it is the type of content that does not teach clients or prospects how to become do-it-yourselfers. It is entirely focused on helping to educate these clients and prospects that you are communicating these marketing pieces with, and educating them, but not telling them everything they need to know, because we want there to be enough wonderment in their approach to the communication you send them that they say, this is a great idea. It's something I need to know more about and learn more about. I'm going to reach out and contact this financial professional. So what our content helps you do is to motivate, or is to disturb people with new ideas and information. To a rational person, to be introduced to a new concept that they've never really understood before, it motivates them to want to take the next step, which is to respond to your call to action, which is to contact you to find out more about a specific product or service that will be beneficial to them. Next slide. Strategy number 4, segment your market with current and compelling information, as well as credible. That is, you want to make sure that the type of content, because we have about 3,000 pieces of content available to the individuals that access our system. All of this content is FINRA reviewed, and also all of this content is developed with your target in mind, the end user. We want to make sure that you load up the right content that will resonate with your target market. We are really big on the importance of target marketing, because if you were to send an article on Social Security to 25 to 35-year-olds, it would never get opened and read. But if you're sending some information on Social Security or Medicare or long-term care, even for those 45 years of age or older, it means a lot to them. And they'll open it and they will want to read it, and more than likely they will want to reach out to ask you more information and likely meet. Next slide. Of course, is to embrace technology to maintain meaningful content engagement. This is not just a communication tool, this is an engagement tool where you might send them a calculator, and this calculator may introduce to them what is the difference between different types of annuities, or different types of IRAs, or different types of life insurance, which is best suited for me. And we have calculators and content articles, as well as videos that engage and share what those differences might be. It's interesting. One of the more popular calculators is, what's best for me at my time in life and with what I've accumulated? Is it a Roth IRA, or is it a traditional IRA? And it's amazing how the phone calls come in saying, hey, is it better for me to maybe consider more about a Roth IRA? And I can tell you right now, with this COVID-19 experience we're all having, with the stock market dropping day to day, a lot of people are realizing maybe a Roth IRA is a suitable alternative, something I should be considering relative to, maybe the penalties won't be so great by engaging in that. Next slide, please. So we at Broadridge, we are all about multi-channel marketing. You can see a list of the different types of products and services that we would like to offer and that we would like you to engage in. But websites is important, as is social media and email marketing. And the tool that in just a moment Daniel will be sharing with you is that type of an engagement tool. Next slide. It is the Advisor Resource Center, and it is a dashboard that will take you into the future if you're not already arrived there. And it gives you the ability to build and to share and to optimize your digital marketing practice. And believe me when I say that we have built this technology with all end users in mind, meaning we realize the average age of a financial advisor is 57 in the United States. We realize that those 57 and older They may not readily embrace technology, but we have designed and developed this dashboard, this marketing tool, so that those who are digital natives, you know, and by the way, I'm the father of 6 children, so I have 5 millennials and 1 Generation X among our children. And I've given them a chance to test drive it a time or two. They love it. And I love it. And believe me, I'm deeply embedded in the baby boomer generation. So with that, just want to make sure you understand that the type of content you'll have available to you will be articles, videos, calculators, digital and or print newsletters, as well as client alerts, which is very timely information that will be of interest and benefit to your clients and prospects. Just to kind of give you an idea, because we do a lot of work with the financial services industry, including financial advisors who are more engaged perhaps in the investment side of the business. But content pieces, we have over 1,300 items connected to life insurance, over 1,400 connected to long-term care, over 1,300 connected to retirement. And I know that most of you would be well engaged in the retirement market. Medicare, 796 connected content items. Social Security, 431. Medigap, 767 connected marketing content items. So I just want to give you an idea. There's a lot of breadth and depth, whether you're focused on the risk management side of the business, the investment side of the business, estate planning, whatever it might be, or completely holistic and all of the above. We have a lot of content that you can access and send to your target market. So with that, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, by the way, here's an example of the alerts that we have. I just listed these 4 about a month ago. These are alerts that come on a timely basis. This one talks about student loan borrowers and COVID-19. Talking a little bit about bear markets come and go. A lot of your clients are invested and they're troubled, and this kind of brought some peace of mind to them. Coronavirus concerns, consider past health crises in the essence that there have been other epidemics or pandemics that have temporarily influenced the market for the downward side, but we've always returned to where we were and then some. And also an article here, an alert on the coronavirus and the global economy. Since I published these about a month ago, we've had 3 more alerts that have gone to the advisors that they can then forward to their book of business or their prospects. So now with that, keep in mind that it's all about the nurturing process, just like I described with Ernie. And we have tracks that you can follow where if someone says it's a prospect that wants to be onboarded, we have a way that you can respond with a thank you for your interest, as well as a sequence for the phone call, as well as starting on day 6, email that might be appropriate from the content library you'll have available to you on down the line. It's a very prescriptive, nurturing process where you can employ and engage the marketing content to engage these prospects as well as your current clients. And let's not forget about the next generation. They should be receiving some nurturing from you as well to keep them current relative to what's on their mind. And in fact, we even have a complete target market section for millennials, of whom many of the next generation to your current clients, the baby boomers, well, their next generation, many of them are either Gen X or mainly millennials. And we have a whole section on millennial content that is a great benefit to them as well. I'd like to now introduce Daniel Borden, who will take over with a demo of this Advisor Resource Center. So Daniel, are you ready?
I'm ready.
The time is yours. Take it over.
Perfect. Thank you for the introduction. So everything that you see here, as Dave mentioned, is our dashboard. And I'm going to make as simple explanation of it as I can. 10,000-foot overview, and what I'll offer to everyone on the call is that me, as well as a number of other Broadridge consultants, are more than happy to conduct one-on-one deep dives into these systems and functionality. So 10,000-foot overview, everything that you're seeing up here is a tool that advisors can use. And just going from left to right, as Dave mentioned, 3,000-piece content library. We offer continuing education to support various designations. We have a monthly e-newsletter that can go out to clients. We have FINRA reviewed seminars with speaker notes included. We have websites that we create professionally as well as update constantly with educational content. We have e-cards, which is digital cards that can be sent out to clients either manually or automatically. And then we have the ability to connect all of this to social media, which is a big push for a lot of people. And, I look back at, the financial industry, and, the financial advice at this point has become a bit commoditized in 2020. People can go anywhere for advice. They're, mailman, trade stocks. You can go on YouTube and find financial advice. Advice is not why people are loyal. People are loyal because of the customer experience and what you provide them. And having these multi-touch marketing campaigns creates an ecosystem of sorts, which increases your ability and builds customer loyalty. So as I get into this, like I said, I'll do a fairly shallow dive, and we can dive deeper a little bit later on. But so in this content library, there's a lot of different ways to filter. Before I do any of that, just keep in mind that the magnifying glass is an easy way to search by any topic that you want. But, keeping with the trend of your specific business, I wanted to show you a few of these options here. So Resource Center is a great way to filter into broad resources. So there's women's, there's Social Security, retirement plan participants. There's one specifically for millennials. A lot more videos are going to be in there. There's Tax Resource Center and Rollover Resource Center. So I know Social Security is a big thing for a lot of people. And so when you come in here, there's all these different content pieces that you can use at your disposal. There's two ways to send these out. If you choose to upload client information into this portal, you can directly send it to them in this portal. All it takes is first name, last name, and email address. Conversely, if you said, hey, listen, I manage my own CRM, I don't want to bring in clients and manage another CRM, that's completely fine. With all of these options, you can send it to yourself and then forward it on to your clients and prospects. One of the big key points that Dave mentioned is that even though you meet a client or prospect, and even though it went really well and they liked what you had to say and you liked what they had to say and it felt harmonious, unless a big life event happens, they're most likely not going to be motivated to take action. And so what we've done to help advisors and agents during this issue is we've created these life event campaigns. So these are all of the reasons, most of them, that money becomes in motion and that someone would call a financial professional. So I know most of the people on here on this call work a lot with long-term care planning. So as Dave mentioned, you don't necessarily want sending general information about long-term care planning to everyone. You want to have groups of clients that you market specific types of content to. And so if you've been able to group your content and you say, hey, I've got 50 or 60 long-term care planning people that I work on this issue with, now you can start directly marketing to them with educational content. And the important thing to remember with everything that we produce, we're practicing stewardship, not salesmanship. We want to give people a lot without asking for anything in return. That's what's going to build loyalty, and that's what's going to increase referability. So just as an example, I'm going to look at understanding long-term care insurance, a very basic article. So when I pull this up, you'll see that here's the preview of the article. It's written, again, like Dave said, in a compelling way, not to give them so much information that they can act on their own, but to make them think, maybe I should call my financial professional and just, make sure that I'm all set. So you find the article. As I mentioned, social media integration is everywhere in this, and it's as easy as hitting this button, share via social media. You could post to LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook immediately. It's that simple. But let's say you wanted to go the conventional route of emailing a group of people. Well, now I hit this email button, specify recipients, and now I can actually schedule things to go out in advance. So a big thing with every advisor and agent I work with is a time commitment. It's the most precious resource that you have is time. You don't want to get into the habit of manually sending out marketing campaign articles. So what you can do is pick 5 or 6 surrounding a specific subject, space them out 3 to 4 weeks apart. You've just taken care of 6 months worth of targeted marketing with about 15 minutes of legwork. And I mentioned before, you don't want to necessarily send long-term care planning to everyone, so you could theoretically create a group and send it directly to them. So one thing that Dave showed you was how the articles looked, but what he didn't show you was the branding. And as he mentioned, the number one point is that if you're not top of mind when money's in motion, you're not getting that phone call. And I do believe that no one here at Broadridge thinks that a newsletter or an article is going to move heaven and earth. We don't think it's supposed to bring in $500,000 just because somebody reads an article. But what we do expect is that they see this image, they see your contact information, they see your name every month, sometimes twice a month. And that just goes on. And then eventually, just like Dave's story with Ernie, when the time is right, they're going to have a lot of decisions to make. And they might ask some friends, they might ask some family members what to do, but ultimately, they're probably going to remember the person that's been sending them educational information over the past few months. So this branding that you're seeing up here is consistent across every single communication. If you post this on LinkedIn, it's not redirecting to a Broadridge page. If someone clicks on a LinkedIn posting, it's going to take them exactly to this. Again, we want to have consistency with your branding image. And so that's pretty much how this works within the content library. There's a lot of different ways to filter in based off specific life events. I have a lot of advisors with older clients that send nice information on how to care for an aging parent. It's a morbid topic, but it's something that people need help with. And then there's also followed up with what to do when you receive a financial windfall. That's the money in motion that you need to be there to capture. So all of these different life events are usually surrounding money in motion. And if we get a little bit more proactive with it, we don't have to wonder when a client's going to call, when are they going to buy that new house. We can just kind of set this stuff in the background, continue about our daily lives, and then ultimately stay top of mind with clients. So let me move on to life events, which are alerts, which Dave alluded to earlier. So a big difference that you'll find with Broadridge and other content providing companies is I'm going to take you back to January of this year. Like most content companies, alerts produced are similar to what your clients would find in a Wall Street Journal. It's things like trade tensions between US and China, the Trace Act, the Secure Act. Good, wholesome articles, timely, relevant, and updated. Where Broadridge has really kind of separated ourselves over this last month and a half with COVID is that we have the bandwidth to increase that production schedule. So historically, it was producing 2 articles per month. That's not enough right now. There has never been a time in the last 10 years, and probably won't be for the next 10 years, where more Americans are sitting at home, staring at their computer screens, looking for answers. And if they're not receiving information from their financial professionals, they're going to look elsewhere for it. So by having the ability to at least pick and choose these market alerts as you send to your clients, you're allowing yourself to stay top of mind. And contrary to 2008, when most advisors were burying their heads in the sand, you can stay out in front of this. Plant the seeds now, because this stuff matters once we get out of the weeds. And so, like I said, within the content library, it's not only surrounding life events, it's not only Social Security, but it's also timely, relevant, updated articles. Additionally, in here, some people like to learn in different ways, and we can't assume that everyone likes to learn via articles. So there's a whole host of videos that you can also send. I highly recommend, if you're going to be engaging with beneficiaries, millennials, I'm telling you, they do not like to read long, inundated articles. It's much easier for them to engage with a 2 or 3 minute video, which recaps exactly what you want to pass along to them. Calculators are another very big and important tool. So let's just say, for example, I want to do personal finance calculator, and then we're going to say debt consolidation calculator, just for example. And you can use any of these, but what we're doing with these calculators is giving you the ability to put in your client's raw data. You put in their name as well as the title, and now we're going to feed you a professionally crafted PowerPoint with all the charts, the graphs, pretty much the same thing that you'd produce on your own, but we're giving you an easy tool to calculate things like paying off a home, or student debt, or buying a house, or how much do I need for retirement. And so, again, just a whole host of resources and tools that you have at your disposal within this content library. Moving over across the top, continuing education, as I mentioned, we do have CE courses for various designations. They're listed right here. The CLU is obviously a big one in the insurance industry, but obviously, you can come in here for free and take these courses, and we send the results directly over to the boards of education. E-newsletter. So what I'm going to say about this is that it redefines the term set and forget. Again, I mentioned that time is the most precious resource you have, and so I have advisors say, and agents say, listen, I like all the content and stuff, but I can't be bothered to be sending it out every month or every couple weeks, and that's fine. But your clients need to at least get communication from you once a month. Our research shows that in order to build advocacy among the client group, in order to get better referrals, clients need to be touched roughly 25 times per year. And so the old adage of, oh, I have a quarterly check-in call, it's not enough. It's not enough to stay top of mind. So what we've done is create this e-newsletter in a very simple way to just stay top of mind while giving your clients good, timely, personal financial topics. So every month, we're going to populate it with default articles. And as you can see, student debt, it's not just for young adults. Mid-year is a good time to review finances. 4 questions on the Roth 5-year rule, the ABCs of finance, teaching kids about money. These are not surrounding coronavirus. So it's nice to be able to give clients a respite because they're looking for good information. But I don't know about anybody on this call, but every time I open my news app, it doesn't matter if I'm looking at sports, politics, education, entertainment, it's all about coronavirus. And eventually you get numb to it. So this is a good way to give clients wholesome educational information that they're going to want to read. So if you never did anything in this, if you never selected alternative articles, if you never open this tab again, we can set this up that your clients receive an automated newsletter on the 15th of every month without you having to lift a finger. They're all going to be saved here in the My e-newsletter, and we give you the ability to write a custom article should you choose to do so. So most advisors and agents don't go that route, but again, just giving you the ability. But when you go to look at it, and this is something that we've spent considerable time updating over the last few months, but it's always going to come across in an email format looking like this. We don't want to put too much in the body, and our research shows that when you put too much in the body of an email, people tend to just skip past it. It's too much. What we found is that when you give people a nice, clear, and concise title with the ability to click through it, it's a much higher click-through rate. Again, top of mind, always branding consistency up at the top of every piece of communication. So when clients receive this, let's just go ahead and preview it. This is what it's going to look like when it comes across. And then when they click take a look, we've made it an interactive newsletter. So in order to click through it, they're going to have, in order to read the other articles, they're going to have to click through it a bit. They have the ability to contact you directly. They have the ability to share via social media. They have the ability to email it to a friend, and they have the ability to print it off at another time and read it on their own. Again, I cannot stress enough how easy this e-newsletter program, and if you take nothing away from this, just know that this is the greatest time saver to keep you top of mind. Within this e-newsletter program, we're also producing what's called market summaries. And as you could probably guess by the title, it's simply just a recap of the previous market. So we have the ability to post weeks, month, quarter, and annual review. These are sometimes good to send out to clients, but where I've seen the biggest impact is putting this on social media. People click on LinkedIn and Facebook, and they're going through that news feed. The more they see your name, the more they see that you're engaging with the markets, the more they see that you're paying attention to what's going on in the world, the more likely they are to consider you a professional, an educational expert. And so we have these market summaries that talk about what happened in the market the week before or the month before, performance of the indexes, the biggest news of last week, as well as what we're looking at in the weeks ahead. So these market summaries are included in the e-newsletter program, right down here in the market summaries. Seminars. I touched on briefly earlier, but we have 37 FINRA reviewed topic-specific seminars depending on what you want to present on. And it is tried and true that seminars are the #1 way to grow a business. It's not through referrals. It's through seminar marketing. And, we live in a world now where you can't really do traditional seminars. And so I've seen a lot of advisors and agents over the last few weeks start to get webinars series going. They're cheaper than an in-person seminar. They're much more efficient, and you don't have to feed people, right? You can promote for free on social media, come to my webinar. You could have a registration link on your website. So when people click on your ad on LinkedIn or Facebook, it takes them to the website, and then you capture the registrants there. Now you've just got leads, right? And then you can use Broadridge content to actually present at that time. And so this has been the most popular webinar series that advisors and agents have been selecting. Within this one-on-one collection, you get access to 17 different topic-specific seminars, all ranging 20 to 30 minutes in length. And it's things like a Social Security seminar. And we're going to have speaker notes there for you, so you don't have to, create the presentation yourself. As you can see, Roth IRA basics, just what Dave touched on. There's, seminars specifically for women, if anyone's targeting that demographic. There's variable annuities, financial planning basics, an introduction to annuities, and then estate planning. So just keep in mind that to aggressively grow the business this year, these one-on-one collections can absolutely help you do that. The websites are something that I would appreciate just being able to talk a little bit more about in a one-on-one consultation, but just so you know, at a high level, Broadridge creates websites for advisors and agents, and we populate it with much of the content that you're seeing in here. So if you like the way this content's written, if your clients are enjoying it, it helps to have a website to, again, hit home on that multi-channel marketing approach. Website, I cannot understate how essential it is right now. If I referred you to a restaurant that you've never heard of before, you'd be crazy to go there without looking it up online and checking out the menu. Well, that's the same thought that goes into people's minds before they invest their life savings. They're going to want to look you up online. They're going to want to see what types of clients you service. They're going to want to see what types of services you offer. They're going to want to see the client engagement process. They're going to want to see, do you do podcasts? What type of customer experience can I expect if I make that first phone call to you? And all this research goes in before they make that first phone call. If they don't like what they see, or if they can't find you, or you're not easily able to be found online, they're going to skip right past you and go to the next person. So moving on from that, e-cards are the last item that you can use at your disposal to communicate with clients. Think of this tool as the Hallmark store for cards. Anything from anniversaries, birthdays, Father's Day, Mother's Day, back to school, get well soon, just checking in, sympathy cards, appointment reminders, and then you can even have the ability to create your own custom invitation. So if anybody does client events, and I'm sure a lot of you do, one advisor gave me an idea. He said, I want to do a whiskey tasting event. So he created his own invitation, and I didn't do it justice, but what I'm showing you is you have a blank slate to create any sort of mass communication that you want. He put a pair of whiskey glasses and a picture up top, a nice invitation. Thank you for being a valued member of our community and our client base. We welcome you to a fine evening of wine and whiskey. And so you're able to create custom communication throughout here, adding images and your own personal touch. And then the last part that I'll show you in here is the social media integration. It is imperative that we have at least LinkedIn or Facebook if we're still trying to grow the business. Our stats show that if you're trying to go after people currently working, LinkedIn is better. And if you're trying to go after retirees, Facebook is a better tool. I'll give you a live example. My parents are both retired. They're both about probably 2 to 4 million in assets. Neither of them are working, and neither of them would ever go to a seminar. So I ask you, how would you ever get in contact with them? You can't call them at home from do not call restrictions. The only way that you're going to be able to do that is to engage them on social media, but they are the type of client that you want. And so by just having a little bit of integration on social media, having a little bit of a presence just makes it easier for people to find you. And it again, kind of drives home that multi-channel marketing approach. So those are all the tools. The last bit that I do want to show you, 2 parts. I mentioned that time is of the essence, and we need to figure out ways to automate a lot of this communication. And so I'm just going to give you a brief showcase of what we can automate. So these are all of my automated campaigns. We have the ability, if you bring over client birthdays and client anniversaries into our database, we can actually send them birthday cards automatically when that date arrives. We can automate those client alerts, like Dave showed the coronavirus articles. You can automate those via email or LinkedIn or Facebook. Concept videos are like understanding the basics of Social Security, understanding what to do when you turn age 65. The e-newsletter, another great tool to just automate email or social media. And then these are the market summaries that I mentioned. So when you start to implement all of these set and forgets, you're realizing that there's so much that's working in the background and it's doing everything automatically, and you can continue running your business as normal, reaching out to clients, prospects, referrals, seminars, whatever you're doing, just knowing that this is strengthening your brand all along the way. Now, it would be pretty useless if we did all of this marketing, but weren't able to actually track the data behind it. And so what you can do is with all communication that you send via email, you can actually track the click-through rates. Somebody that's engaging a lot with your content is probably somebody that needs a phone call. So when I look down here, these are all of the people that are engaging with my emails. And this particular advisor has looked at 11 of my emails, opened them, and then actually clicked through 22. If I'm reading this report correctly, I should probably give her a call because there's something that she probably wants to talk about. There's something that she's looking for. So again, this is just one component of the multi-channel marketing approach. It's websites, it's digital media, it's social media, it's print marketing. But just to kind of, wrap it up on my end, Broadridge can help with all of that. The reason that people go to Apple, I don't necessarily think that they do everything the best, but the one thing that Apple does better than anyone else is they integrate all of their products. There's one customer support number, and in case there's any issues, all of the products talk to each other and makes it a seamless process for everyone involved. That's why people use Broadridge. They don't want to have 6 different vendors, one doing the drip marketing, one doing the seminar, one doing the website. Those costs are going to increase. By having every marketing process just with Broadridge, we're able to keep the cost low for you. We're able to integrate all of the tools to work with each other so that you can continue on focusing on the tasks that actually generate revenue for your business. So that's pretty much what I had today. I'll turn it back over to Austin to continue the webinar.
Wonderful. Hey, Daniel, it's Tom. Thank you, Dave and Daniel. Fantastic job there. Really appreciate that. A couple of quick things. Again, if you have questions, I don't know if everyone heard this at the beginning, but if you have questions, you can submit them on the GoToWebinar menu that you have to the right of your screen or wherever you may have moved it. A couple of quick questions that we had. First one is, what does this all cost?
Dave, do you want to address that, or should I?
Well, Daniel, all I know is that we have a nice discount from our retail costs because of our relationship with INA. So, Daniel, if you have more information, please feel free to share it.
Yeah, so what we've been doing is helping advisors by setting up free trials and agents by setting up free trials just to kind of get them started on this. But ultimately, this is kind of an a la carte model with the ability to bundle everything together. So I want you to ignore the prices that I'm going to show you. Actually, Austin, can you share my screen? Are you sharing my screen?
Let me see. There we go.
Okay. So again, just ignore these prices because these are retail, but everything that I've shown is available a la carte, but these packages usually provide the deepest discounts for advisors and agents. The most popular one for people that want to get automation is going to be this managed package right here. It includes the content library. It includes the e-newsletter, which you can automate. It includes continuing education courses. It includes the monthly website hosting fee. It includes e-cards, and it includes the ability to post automatically on social media. Again, anything can be bought a la carte for whatever makes sense for the business. The reason that people go with the invest package is if they want to do seminar marketing. That's the big difference. If you want to grow your business aggressively this year, you're going to have to get content somewhere. So you're either going to create it and spend labor hours doing that, or you're going to buy it. And we're able to offer the deepest discounts on the total retail cost of seminars within the Invest package.
Okay. I'd like to add to that. This is Tom, and just say this is the retail pricing for everyone on the call. By being contracted with INA, you will have access to discounting pricing that we've negotiated with Broadridge as such a great partner with us. And in addition to that, depending on your production as well, our office, INA, can help to pay the annual fee as well. So you have questions about that, reach out to us directly, talk to your sales rep at INA, and we can give you more details on that. So great question, and thank you for handling that, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
Okay, and then let's see, any other questions here? The other question I have is how do I get access to it? And so two ways to get access to all these amazing tools that we went through here today. The easiest way is, like I mentioned at the beginning of the call, at the conclusion of this webinar, you'll have an opportunity to complete a form. And that form, you just put in your name, your email address, your phone number, and we will have that. And you will be contacted by Broadridge within the next couple of days. Because it is the holiday weekend, I would say give us till Tuesday of next week, and you will be contacted by Broadridge to discuss this. Second way is, as always, you can reach out to us at INA, call your sales rep, call us directly. Our 800 number, again, is 800-456-7999, for those of you that don't have it memorized. But hopefully that covers that. I do not see any other questions at this time, but we are creeping up to the top of the hour. I just want to close again with a couple of last comments here. I want to thank Dave and Daniel for joining us. We really appreciate your partnership. You guys do a fine job of walking through the content. We hope that everyone on the call found this to be an excellent use of your time. We hope that you learned how digital marketing with Broadridge can have an immediate impact on your practice. Again, closing with two things: why you need this and how do you get access. Just to paraphrase a couple of things from Dave and Daniel, staying top of mind with your clients and prospects, attracting and converting leads, motivating clients and prospects to take action, and especially these days, I think this one is really resonates, is creating a presence as a thought leader to set yourself apart to grow your business. And then how do you get access? Again, complete the form at the conclusion of today's call, or reach out to us at INA if we can help. We'd love to talk to you about some of our favorite newsletters and tools that are available here with Broadridge. So at that, that'll be the conclusion of today's call. Thank you again, Dave, Daniel, and everyone for joining us here today. Wishing you all well and your families well during these challenging times, and wishing you all a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. We'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Austin. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye now.